Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. I'm Bill,
I'm DK.
and today we're going to be doing this a little differently because I know we had said on our Facebook group we had stuff lined up. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it, but we had to change it up because actually the middle of next week is a very historic anniversary, which we will talk about because it includes the show that we will be reviewing. But
Yeah, I
before
knew
we
it was
get,
close, so that's kind of why I was saying that.
yeah. So why don't we talk about what's going on in the world of wrestling? And I guess the big thing right now is next Saturday, Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Um, 1 second, my computer's going a little slow here.
Okay.
Just going to close this one window. Sorry about that.
That's all right. So, yeah, next Saturday afternoon here in North America is the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So that's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 Central, 1 Mountain, 12 Pacific. So,
You covered it all there, eh?
yeah, basically to
Okay.
make sure everyone knows, hey, this is when the show's on. If you think it's going to be airing live at night, no, it ain't happening. It's going to be
Why are they doing a daytime show? It
it's
oh,
in
this
England.
is it's in England.
Yeah, it's the London show.
Okay. Yeah, they're doing a lot of like instead of just doing these tours, they're like big time events are actually being done over there. So that's kind of cool.
And you know what? I actually like it because
Yeah.
because
Daytime
we're
Saturday, sure, sounds good with me.
yeah, because these countries that normally don't get a pay-per-view are getting a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like England is getting what, their second one in a year, within a year. And then I had heard a rumor, and again, it's only a rumor, they may do a pay-per-view in Australia down the line. So there's a
Yeah.
lot to
If you're gonna pay, you're gonna get a pay per view
exactly.
if you want.
Oh,
That
and in Puerto
seems to
Rico.
be the way it's going. Yeah, Puerto Rico.
Can't
That
forget
was
Puerto Rico.
yeah, because and that was you know what, like I do apologize. I've been extremely busy lately, but there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on in wrestling that I haven't been able to talk to you about. I've been listening to your other show and stuff like that, but it's been pretty cool
Mm-hmm.
seeing some of the stuff. There's a lot of the stuff that's going on in the storylines that kind of don't make sense to me, and I don't really know what they're doing. But
Right.
besides that, like the business side seems like it's doing very well.
Oh yeah, the
But
business side, I think across the board
yeah,
is doing really well.
so
And we don't talk about ratings that much, but I'm just going to say it now. It's shown in the ratings the last several weeks. I mean, I think SmackDown last week was close to 3 million people viewing.
yeah, I
The
think
debut of,
SmackDown's probably killing Raw at this point
oh God, yeah.
because it's such a better show in my opinion.
The debut of Collision had 800,000 views. Dynamite this past Wednesday was over 900,000 views. It's healthy. That's the best way to put it right now. Is it is healthy, and that's what we
Yeah,
need is a healthy business.
sure.
Um, okay, so we're doing this show while SmackDown's going on. So as of when we're recording this, there are 5 matches announced for this show. Uh I don't know if that's going to be the entire card. I honestly don't know on this one. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised. So
Well,
why
what are the
don't
5 matches? We'll go through it, and then maybe we can make a couple predictions on what maybe might be a six or
yeah.
seven match.
All right. Well, let's start with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So you have Damien Priest, Butch, Santos Escobar, LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura, Logan Paul, and Ricochet.
Yeah. It's kind of a underwhelming card for this match. Like, what's your opinion on that? Like, it seems like LA Knight should be the favorite here.
That's what everyone is saying. Like,
People
LA
are
Knight
saying Logan.
has to win it.
Well, okay, he doesn't have to, but I think they have a good opportunity here to like push a guy that's being backed by
the fans.
This is okay, so don't come at me when I say this. This has now on a lower level. This has Steve Austin 96 kind of vibes for me.
Okay.
Like he's a heel, but people like him.
Yeah.
He's awesome on the microphone. Um, I wish that he would get maybe a little bit better quality matches, like even if he's losing the matches.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it would, but it almost seems like too obvious that it might be him because of all the chatter right now.
Right.
Like if Logan Paul won, that would be awful. Honestly, it would be. But that's where the money is. Maybe that's how they got him to sign the extension.
Yeah.
And then the rest of I just don't unless there's somebody there like maybe like Butch or something that they're gonna maybe try to push. But like the Money in the Bank hasn't been this huge thing in recent years. Like
right.
Like it used to be like the next big star would win this thing. And I don't know, lately, like I know they did the one time with Brock Lesnar where it was kind of lame. And then there was Monster in the Bank, that was lame. Austin Theory, that was lame. Everyone and their mother was predicting Cody Rhodes because I think he was supposed to do it last year.
Right. And then he got injured.
Yeah, then he got injured. So you have that opportunity where, like we talked about on our post WrestleMania show, why he didn't win the big match because they were going to finish the story, and then they have him doing these matches with Brock Lesnar, which, you know, they were pretty good matches, but like, where are they going with this? So I assumed it was trying to make Cody have to achieve something.
Right.
Maybe have to beat Brock to get in the Money in the Bank match, and then he overcomes again to win the ladder match, but he's not even in the ladder match.
Yeah.
So like it almost makes me think that one of these guys is going to get injured like before the match. And then maybe a guy like Cody or somebody else like takes his spot. You know, like his music hits. Oh, we're missing somebody, like one of the undercard guys that you don't expect to win. And then maybe he comes out or something. It's super underwhelming. But like for my prediction, I would probably say LA Knight because that's kind of what I'd like to see happen. But maybe Logan Paul is part of his contract, like I said earlier. So I've talked enough about this. What do you think about the men's match here?
Somebody mentioned this the other day, and I was like, that person is absolutely right. This is the first men's Money in the Bank ladder match in who knows how long where there are no former world champions in this match. There's not one.
Yeah.
So that really helps this match for me, is the fact that, okay, whoever wins this match could potentially be the next either, WWE champion or world heavyweight champion, depending on how everything goes.
Yeah.
As soon as Logan Paul made the announcement that he was in this match, my first thought was, oh no, he's going to win this match.
Oh no.
because like you said, that's what WWE wants. They want the money.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, I'm going to take Logan Paul out of this mix for a minute.
Oh, I hope so.
Let's
Damn it.
take a look at the other six. Or actually, I'm even going to take LA Knight out because you did a really good you did really good describing LA Knight. So we'll take him out
You
of
know
the
what I
picture.
want you to do? I want you to kind of make like a pitch for like the rest of the guys.
Okay, I will. I'll
And
start with
after that, I will pick the guy that I think that you are picking. Unless you're picking LA Knight, you can just tell me that right
okay. So I'm going to try to make a pitch for the other five.
now. Okay.
So I'm going to go with the one that I think could be the easiest pitch, and that's Damien Priest.
Yeah.
Member of the Judgment Day, has been on a roll since WrestleMania. Had the great match with Bad Bunny at Backlash, almost beat Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. If he wins that match, in his mind, the story right there is he thinks he's guaranteed I've got the belt because he's proven he could beat Rollins. If he
Yep.
just was given another chance, he could beat Seth Rollins. So
Yeah.
that's my pitch there for Damian Priest.
I like your pitch for Damien Priest.
Okay.
That would
The
probably be my second choice if LA Knight doesn't take it.
the other four is going to be hard, I think. So I'm going to make an attempt on each of the four. So the next one I'm going to do is Butch. And I like Butch. I really do.
You sure sound like you like him.
I do. No, his in-ring work is good. I like his in-ring work.
Yeah.
He is someone who I think is ready to leave the Brawling Brutes. He's ready to go out on his own. He goes to this match and he's like, boys, I've got this one. He wins the match and he's like, hey, you know what? I won this on my own. I don't need Sheamus. I don't need Ridge. As much as I like him, I don't need them right now. So he could have this arc, the story arc of where every match he beats somebody on his own until he decides to cash in, whoever.
Yeah.
Plus, he's going to be the hometown favorite because he's from England. So the best pitch I got for Butch.
Okay.
For
that would probably be like my like the order you're going is kind of the order that I would pick, like likeliest to unlikeliest to win.
Okay, so Santos Escobar is the next one. His thing is, I'm going to win this match for the Latino community. I'm going to win
Yep.
for all the members of the LWO. I'm going to win it for Eddie. I'm going to win it for my dad, who's a wrestler. I'm going to win it for Ray. I'm going to win it for us. I'm going to win it for us, the Latino community. That's your pitch.
Sure. That works.
And he's gotten over, since they paired him up with Ray. So that, I like that. So, all right. So where do you have him after that pitch?
Like honestly, like I think we're kind of going in the order that
okay.
I think that like we're agreeing basically.
Okay.
I don't give him much. Honestly, like I give LA Knight probably a 60% favorite. And then I would probably put Damien Priest in that second spot.
Okay.
Like this is what I want to see, because I think that would be kind of a cool thing where he does it on his own.
Yeah.
Because I know they had that thing on Raw where Balor came out and he was like mad that he came out. And we're in a group, but I want to do it on my own. That's usually like a precursor to not a breakup of a group, but
But someone's
there's
leaving the group.
something going on here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would probably put Damien Priest second, and then unfortunately Logan Paul would be the third choice, and then
Okay.
basically I'd probably give like a 1% to the
Okay.
remainder of the guys. So
Okay.
it doesn't really matter to the order because I don't
Right.
see any of
Right.
them having a
Okay.
chance.
So let me give you the pitch for Shinsuke because
Okay.
he's in this match. He's traveled all over the world. He's done everything except one thing: be the WWE champion. He had his shot at WrestleMania like 6 years ago. Wow, it doesn't seem like it's been 6 years. He lost the opportunity. He's never been the same since.
He's never won the title.
Yeah,
Really?
he's never won the WWE title.
So he had that Royal Rumble, and then where he kind of
One
had
of the best rumbles ever.
yeah, when he had a weird heel turn, he kicked AJ in the balls,
Right.
which was really weird after an awesome match.
Oh,
And
man.
he hasn't had really, and that's
It's been
shocking.
6 years that I still haven't gotten over it. I mean, I don't go on the message boards and be like, oh, no, I haven't
Oh,
done
you
that.
don't do that?
No, I don't do that. So
Okay.
anyway, so the pitch to Shinsuke is he has unfinished business. And the unfinished business is to be either, WWE champion or world heavyweight champion. So that's my pitch for Shinsuke.
Yeah.
For Ricochet, my pitch would be this. He's been close to the top. He's never been able to break through the glass ceiling. He's never been able to do it.
Yeah.
Braun's
Cool.
out. Braun's out of the picture. He's injured. He's going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
This is Ricochet's best chance to win and to break through that glass ceiling. Like he's been near it, but he hasn't been able to break it. If he wins it, he, in his mind, thinks, I'm going to break through the glass ceiling and I'm going to be the next champ. So that's my.
I see Ricochet doing some cool things on the ladder. I just don't see him as that guy the fans really get behind and
Right.
and just all of a sudden just goes from like second tier to heavyweight champion.
Right.
It would be really cool to see because it would be a shocker. Yeah, with Braun being out, it was probably holding him back a little bit. Yeah, but it's that's why this like the Money in the Bank match is really interesting because like you do like it's weird. LA Knight is kind of like the favorite.
Yeah.
And he like if he was in the Money in the Bank match last year, nobody would have picked him.
But that's the beauty of this particular match because I think it's opposite for the women here. The beauty of this one for the second year in a row for the men is you don't know who's going to win. Like a lot of people want LA Knight to win. And even you said you think he will win. And he's deserving of it. He really is. But I just got that feeling in my gut Logan's gonna win it.
Oh, gross.
I think it's gonna happen. I really do. I think Logan is going to win it. So
then he cashes in. Like, okay, so do you think they brought out this new title so someone could cash it in because Roman wasn't getting cashed in
on? No, not
but
now.
they also made this point like, oh, you can cash in on the Intercontinental Champion.
Right. They changed the rule this year where it's like, oh, you could cash in on any title.
Okay. Not to say anything bad about the Intercontinental Championship, but like, why would someone do that? Like, you want to be
that's a death wish.
You want to be the top guy, right? Maybe it's a way for Gunther to lose without like making him look bad or something. I don't know. But that could be something. Maybe Ricochet wins and cashes in to get the Intercontinental title.
But DK, he's so close to the record. He's
I
so
know.
close. I don't want anyone to cash in on him. But
You want him to break Honky's record?
I do. And it's
Okay.
nothing against Honky Tonk Man. It really isn't.
Okay. All
But
right.
well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're gonna go from the men to the women's Money in the Bank. So we have Io Sky, Trish Stratus, Zoe Stark, Bailey, Zelina Vega, and Becky Lynch.
Okay. So this is more star-studded. There's a few. Like, I see in this situation, I'd rather have like someone like Io Sky win.
Yeah.
Like Becky Lynch winning the Money in the Bank and cashing in on Asuka or whatever. That's okay, cool. It's not like a big moment though. Like, I don't know, Io Sky cashing in on Asuka. They got like that history and stuff, and that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we have to go through every single competitor again.
No. Oh no. We're not going to for this one.
I would pick Io Sky because that's just like a cool storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that's won the title multiple times doesn't have to win Money in the Bank to win it. Should be like the first time. I needed to, like, similar to Royal Rumble. You got to win. Oh, that's how you got to the next level.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm gonna pick Io Sky because I think that would be a really cool storyline.
Okay, so in my mind, Trish, Zoe, and Becky eliminate each other because of the feud that they've got going on.
Yeah.
In my mind. So those three are gone. So it comes down to Io, Becky, and Zelina. As much as I like Zelina Vega, and I do, and I've met her in person, and she is a sweetheart of a person.
Okay.
No, I just can't see it. So it
plus,
comes.
plus, Zelina had her like big story thing last month.
Right.
Like,
so
if you were gonna have her win, sorry to interrupt you. If you're gonna have her win a big match, that's when you should have done it.
So then you've got Io and Bailey. Well, Bailey's already won this before. So kind of by default, Io has to win this, and I think she will win this.
Like, I think there has been multiple winners before, right? Didn't Edge win twice? Didn't CM Punk win twice? I think
Punk's won twice.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into the history books.
Edge didn't win twice.
It's been done. I know Miz has had it twice. Edge has had it twice.
Yeah. Not saying that like.
Oh no, I'm not saying Becky or Bailey shouldn't have it. It's just,
Yeah. Yeah, but that's kind of what I was saying before. Like someone like Bailey it won't really help her.
Right.
Like,
plus
Becky, like, she's already, like, Bailey's on a lower level than Becky, obviously, but she's already proven, is what I'm kind of trying to say.
Plus, there's the stat that they put out after last year's Money in the Bank, where every woman who has cashed in has won, whatever title it is. So at some point, someone's gonna have to be the first woman to fail the cash in at some point.
Yeah. Who's gonna
be the one?
Who's gonna be the Baron Corbin of the female division?
There you go. All right. Next match, World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins against Finn Balor. And before, I'm gonna take this one first.
Good.
Because I didn't record that wrestling show last week because I was away on vacation. So I've had this for almost 2 weeks in my mind, and I want to put it out there right now.
Okay.
The segment on Raw, not this past Monday, but the Monday before, where Finn is trying to get his piece out to Seth, and the fans are singing that stupid song.
I love it.
Oh my god, I'm opposite on that.
Oh,
That
come on,
pissed
man.
me off. I'm like, serious. This is we're trying. They're trying to develop a story here, and all you guys are doing is
Me and my
that's
daughter, like,
become,
me and my daughter stand up and we sing it. It's freaking awesome.
dude.
So
I hate to tell you
I
this.
disagree. I disagree with what you're saying right
I
now.
hate to tell you this, but that's becoming the new what?
I know it's gonna last
It
forever
is. Oh god, no. It's just you
until they
know
change music or something. But why would they do that?
right. Why would you do that? No, it's just my thing is, you got Finn, who has been really good this last year. He
Yep.
really has. And you're trying to make this match, and he keeps getting interrupted. I don't know. I was like, really, guys? I'm just. I mean, I'm over it. I've been over it, but I'm just like, come on, guys.
You don't sound like you're over
Eh,
it. Yeah, you know what? Like sometimes those things go too long.
that's
Um,
the problem. Is it went too long? That was the problem.
my the thing that bugged me the most was the yes chants. Like, oh my god! Like,
Yeah,
okay, yes, Mania was cool, and when he did the thing with when he took over Raw, so you get to at WrestleMania, that was cool. But like a year and a half after that, he just comes out and he's like, yeah.
yeah, but
It's like, oh, I'm over it. I'm over it. Come up with a new gimmick. Come on, man.
that's kind of gone now,
But
especially
I
since.
still see AEW fans chanting at him, and he's like, oh, I'm not allowed to do that here. He's like, I don't know if he trademarked the yes thing.
I don't know.
Probably not. Vince is usually on top of that stuff.
Right.
So did you pick EO Sky? Man, I'm
Yeah, I
rambling.
did pick EO for that last match.
Okay, so I'm going out on a limb and picking her, and then you came out and you had all these great reasons why she's going to win. So now I don't want to pick her because it's not
Oh.
enough. But yeah, I'm going with
um.
her.
Yeah. Okay. But with the world heavyweight title match, I'm going with Seth. He's gonna hold the belt.
Yeah, like um, the only way I could see Finn Balor winning is if Damien Priest won the Money in the Bank briefcase,
Ooh.
and then he comes down, he helps Finn win the title, and then they're like celebrating or something, and like Rhea Ripley's down there and Dominic and all the people and stuff, and then all of a sudden Damien just like kind of like you remember Batista with the thumbs down thing,
Yes.
and like because he does that leg kick thing like similar to Booker T.
Mm-hmm.
He could just knock Finn's head off and then just pin him. Like that would be a cool moment. Like I personally like it when they carry the briefcase around and tease cash-ins all year
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because like I remember that when Dean Ambrose won it, he cashed in the same night. It's happened a lot. I personally like the surprise when it like happens out of the blue. So, but I think if Damian Priest did win, he could help Finn Balor to win the title, and then kind of just screw him over right away, and then win. So
I mean, I agree with you on the whole holding on to the briefcase. It's kind of like, and I'm going to use a Motorhead song. The chase is better than the catch because
yeah,
you're building up. Because the best one, I still think this to this day. The two best ones are Dolph and Seth. Those two are still to me the best cash-ins because of how long it was.
yeah, and
And
I think Seth gets put ahead of Dolph because of
because
where
of
it happened.
exactly,
The Dolph
yes,
one was like
the night
awesome.
after.
It was awesome. That was after like the night after, right?
Yeah, and I could have
Okay.
been at that role. I
Oh
could have,
yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah, but
but I was.
I liked how they did it because honestly, that WrestleMania main event, if like it was just like if Roman wins there or Brock just wins, it's not that good. Seth comes down and you don't expect that at all.
No, you don't. That's why I was. And
Maybe
then
and then the
and then
Velvet
the funny
Warrior.
part,
That's cool.
and then the funny part is like days after you hear like Roman Reigns' dad was almost going to start a riot in the stadium.
Oh yeah.
God bless you, Sika. God bless you. May you live in eternity forever. All right. Next match, Cody Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio.
Okay, so I've missed a little bit. Like, why are they wrestling each other? What's the
Okay.
reason?
So this all starts on an episode of Miz TV
Oh,
where Miz invites Dominic out because Cody is the guest, and then Dominic gets invited, and he says that Cody's a deadbeat dad, like he is, and Cody's like,
why is Cody a deadbeat dad? What do you
"I
do?
know this girl's only like 2 or 3 years old. Come on!"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yeah, Ray's a good friend of mine, and he's made many mistakes, and I'm looking at one of them right now." Turns
Nice.
to Dominic, and then Dominic slaps Cody and runs away, and that's basically how we get to this match. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of like this curveball because Cody's got a little bit of a break from Brock because we know Brock can't do 3 or 4 consecutive pay-per-views in a row. He's
He
probably
did 4 in a row. It was incredible. He has to go to
okay,
back to
5.
Saskatchewan and
Okay.
rest for a
It's
year.
probably like he probably has it in his contract. Look, I can do no more than 6 consecutive pay-per-views in a row. That's probably in his contract.
I don't think he's ever done more than 3 before this year in a row.
Right. So
Legit.
it's and Cody's thing is he keeps saying, Brock, why don't you come back? Why haven't you come back? So he's got Dominic to feud here. It's a brief
Yep.
mini feud. So
Sure.
it's kind of like, okay, we have this small story that has some significance into the bigger story, which is Brock and Cody. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go out on a limb. I think Dominic's gonna win this match.
Oh my god.
And it's gonna be because Brock gets involved.
But then he would be at the pay-per-view. Why wouldn't he just wrestle? Yeah. I don't okay. Finish your statement and then I'm gonna tell you how wrong you are about it. Okay.
And then Dominic comes out on Raw the next night, and you never hear the end of it. Like, I beat
What would
Cody.
happen?
I beat, the Royal Rumble winner. I beat, blah, 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 blah. So, there. Okay, so tell me
Okay.
how I'm wrong.
Well, okay. So if Brock Lesnar is in the building at a pay-per-view in England, he's going to be advertised
True.
first, and then they probably have a big time match. That would just make sense. I don't see them getting Brock to fly over there so he could just interrupt the match. Oh man. Now, like I agree with you what you're saying there about the curveball. Having like Dominic and Cody have a match. Like when I first saw that picture, I'm like, what? Why? This gotta be. I was like, did someone just make this? Like, is this their card that they made on Xbox or something? What is this? So it's kind of interesting, but I just don't see how you could have a guy in wins Royal Rumble, wins, goes to WrestleMania, has a great match, almost wins except for the interference, has a couple of really good matches with Brock Lesnar, and now he's going to lose to Dominic. I don't see it. I think Cody wins. I think this is a way to get Dominic kind of away from the group for the night, maybe.
Okay.
Got Damien Priest in the Money in the Bank. You got is Rhea defending her title? I think she is. And then you got Finn in the title match. So
right.
I think it's just a way maybe to get Dominic on the card, and
Yeah.
then maybe you're not sure what Cody was going to do, so get him out there because people want to see him.
Okay. Before we go to the final match, I want to warn our YouTube viewers. At some point, I might be having my sister come in to keep a gift in my room because it is Jacob's birthday tomorrow and he will be turning 11. So if you all want to wish him a happy birthday, well, he doesn't have social media, so
That's good. He's 11. He shouldn't have social media yet.
exactly, he shouldn't have social media.
Wait a little bit older.
All right. So now to the final match, and this is probably the main event of the show. I would probably bet all the money in the world that this is going to be the main event. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa against the Usos, the Bloodline Civil War.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't save this for like SummerSlam.
That's what I thought too. I thought this was going to happen at SummerSlam.
So I think that's what I think is going to happen. I think Jimmy is going to pin Roman Reigns.
Oh, okay.
Because the only thing that makes sense. Now I know Roman has that record and everything.
Yeah.
But it would only make sense for Jimmy because he's the one that kind of started this like breakup. Like Jay was like the first guy at the beginning of the storyline. For this to be a Money in the Bank, maybe Jimmy could pull a fast one here, and then maybe he would be like the next challenger for Roman. I don't see him winning the title or anything like that. But,
no.
But that's like the only reason I can think of. Like you could have Seth and Finn Balor be the main event, or the men's ladder match be the main event. Right. You don't have to have this huge tag team match like this was at WrestleMania. They had a tag team match that was a huge storyline.
Incredible.
This is up there. Like this is the Bloodline breakup on Money in the Bank. Like this could be a WrestleMania match. I would have rather had the match kind of built longer, and then like I don't know, maybe like stretch it out to like Survivor Series or SummerSlam or something like that. But yeah, so it's so quick. I kind of see them building to SummerSlam at this match. So whoever Roman Reigns' next opponent is either going to interfere in the match or they might already be in the match. And I think Jimmy's going to pin. Now they might just like pin Solo,
which would be kind of like the easy way out.
Easy way out. Roman doesn't lose. The Usos continue what they're doing. But you know what? There is Roman's brother, his younger brother or something, is debuting soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I read this story. I think it's a brother. There's so many of them. I can't keep track of all of them.
I mean, it's true.
So like maybe he like kind of like when Solo debuted, maybe it's like maybe there's another Bloodline member coming, and the Usos get beat down or something. I don't know, but I think it'd be cool if Jimmy or Jay win. But
I mean,
honestly, if Jay like Cody didn't beat him, if like best scenario would be Jay Uso winning the title off Roman Reigns in some historic epic clash.
I mean, we have to remember Roman has not been pinned in 3.5 years. That's a long time. Doesn't matter if it's today's era, the Attitude Era, the Golden Era, whatever. 3.5 years is a long time.
Yeah. Like,
see, the thing is, and you brought up a good point. this more than likely is going to give us whatever the main event of SummerSlam is going to be.
I think so.
But here's, and I'm just throwing this out. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just going to throw this out. What if Solo turns on Roman? Because remember, we had the shoulder bump about a month ago on SmackDown. And then Roman asking Solo, whose side are you on? So it's like, I mean, yeah, they're cousins, but blood is thicker than water. So I'm just putting that out. I'm just putting it out there.
And there is, I don't know how much you follow rumors, but there is this thing going around that they want Roman to turn babyface.
I have heard that.
How? I think he's the best heel. Like now, but if you look at the stuff that's going on, Roman is getting kicked by both of his cousins.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2-on-1. That's a heel move. So it's weird. Like I think if executed properly to make him this like superhero John Cena babyface in the end, it could work. But I think he's been such a good heel since he came back in 2020. I think it was.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, like when he came back, he wasn't a heel right away, and then Paul Heyman was with him, and then he won the title right away, and then all of a sudden it's like, man, Roman Reigns is a heel. I kind of like this guy now.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wasn't wearing the vest anymore. He was just a different character. Like so, I don't know why they would mess with that.
Exactly.
Like,
but you brought up,
but you did the Usos have skyrocketed in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
To superstars, not just tag team guys.
Yeah, they're top level players now.
Like, I would right now put them as number one tag team ever
in WWE.
Anybody, number one.
You would have a valid argument. I mean,
like you'd
have a valid argument.
You can name your tag teams, like all the stuff they've done. They've been around. I think they've been there for like 13 years now.
Mm-hmm.
They've done it all basically.
They main evented a night of WrestleMania. No other tag team can say that.
That was the last thing that I needed to see. Like I don't know what order. Who's the greatest tag team of all time in your eyes? In like I'm just talking WWEF history. I'm not going back too far, but from like the mid '80s to now, I think you have to at least they got to be in the conversation.
Yeah, at least have them in the conversation.
Like longevity, like there's other teams like the British Bulldogs were pretty good, but they weren't there long enough as a team.
Demolition.
Legion of Doom had their issues. Demolition, same.
I mean, the Uso. To be fair,
Heart Foundation weren't around long enough as a team. The Rockers, same.
To be fair, though, you did bring up something. The Usos have had their issues.
Yeah.
They've had their legal issues.
Sure.
And WWE has stuck by them, and I really think these last couple of years they have matured. They really have matured because this is the biggest storyline, and I don't think anyone knew at the time that this was going to be the biggest storyline they would ever be in. But this thing's been going for 3 years almost. They've played a major factor in this.
Yeah. And even like riding with Roman Reigns, their real life cousin, may have helped.
Yeah.
Their maturity.
And they are very talented. I mean, my God, if anyone out there is thinking, oh, they're only there because of Roman, no, those two guys are talented in the ring.
They were there before Roman, weren't they?
Exactly. So as far as the match goes, I'm gonna say the only thing that's keeping me from saying Roman and Solo winning is if they win, who does Roman face at SummerSlam? That's the only thing that's keeping me away from saying they will win this match. So I'm going to say the Usos win. Jay gets the pin. I'm going to be a little different on this one. I think Jay will get the pin.
Over Solo?
See, that's the thing. I want to say Roman because you made a convincing argument, but I
I
don't.
think I'm actually
I
going to
don't
change
think
my
they're going to
mind.
pull the trigger on that pin yet. Not on Roman.
Yeah, you know what? Since it's Money in the Bank, I don't think they would have him do that, especially when they're all about records
Yeah. So I'm going to say he pins Solo. But if Roman does get pinned, it'll be an amazing moment, even
right
if
now.
it's not a title match. So we'll see how Money in the Bank goes next week.
And does Roman have to win the title at SummerSlam, or can there just be like him being in a match? Like I don't
I
think he
mean,
has to defend this title anymore.
well, the thing is, though,
Like he should, but I don't think he has to.
but the thing is, though, he hasn't defended the title on television since WrestleMania. And they always make a big deal about SummerSlam as like the second biggest show of the year, even though I
Yeah,
think it's the Royal Rumble myself. That's the second biggest show of the year.
yeah,
But,
me too.
but,
SummerSlam's
and
the third biggest show for
yeah,
me.
oh yeah. It,
Should be
but
defended.
it's in Ford Field. It's in a football stadium. I would think you'd want Roman to defend the title, but
Yeah,
that's just me.
for sure.
So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so yes. Oh, actually, you know what? Real quick before we get to this, I do want to thank Barry Horowitz again for being on our
Yeah.
last episode.
I wanted to say like I couldn't make the show, which sucked, but I listened to it. It was awesome. Like I was laughing all like that guy is he was still running promos on you. It was awesome.
Mhm.
And
And
I think hearing all those nice stories, I'm very excited to do the watch along when we get that opportunity to do it.
and he will be back.
Yeah, he did say, and yeah, I was even just chatting with him there on Messenger, and yeah, he's such a down to earth guy, and it was awesome that he was on our show. And
Now I will say, and this is I'm kind of exposing behind the scenes. You guys have no idea how nervous I was the day of that interview. I mean, you couldn't tell, like if you saw the video, you couldn't tell. And you probably couldn't tell listening. But in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to interview someone I've watched since I was a kid.
yeah,
Oh, and this guy, and Barry,
I thought you did a
honestly,
really good job, by the way.
thank you. Barry Horowitz is one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. My God. And the fact, okay, what won me over, and I was thinking of you when he said this, DK, was how much he plays Madden.
Yeah,
I'm
you know
like,
what? I was like, you know what? Let's do it.
I want to have,
Saints versus Bucks. You can have
yes,
your Tom Brady because I'm a pretty good Madden player myself.
yes,
Now I haven't played no what do you say 800 games or something?
yeah. He's won like 800 games.
Like he just sit there and like lift weights and pat himself on the back while he's destroying somebody's confidence. um, like I play a lot of franchise mode with like friends and stuff, so I don't do the online games as much.
Right.
But yeah, he would probably like put me in my place, wouldn't it be funny?
Like Barry, with all due respect, Barry, he was like one of the last people I'd ever thought would be like a video game. You know, someone that plays video games, not someone who plays it every single moment of their life, but just someone who.
Well, you know, I think like the guys when you're on the road, you're away from your family and you're wrestling. You probably have a gaming system. You probably hook it up in a hotel room and all get together and play games. That's probably how it all started for them.
But yeah, we're gonna have to make that happen. Probably you two first, and then I'll
Sure.
play Barry next, and then you and I can play.
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, we can stream it online or something. And
We'll have to figure out what system to do it on.
yeah,
So all right. So all right, let's get to the reason we're doing this episode today. Besides, haven't done this in a while.
yeah.
This coming Wednesday is the 25th anniversary of the 1998 King of the Ring. And it is known famously or infamously, depending on how you want to look at it, for one match and one match only. Undertaker, Mankind, Hell in a Cell. And I'm glad, DK, that we thought about this because I used to watch this show on tape a lot. And I liked this show when I was a teenager. So I was kind of interested to see, okay, I haven't seen this show in a long time. Does it still hold up today? Because that's always the thing whenever we do these reviews. If I've seen the show, does this show hold up? So, and I'm glad we're doing this. This is a significant anniversary
Yeah.
because, I mean, it's Hell in a Cell. It's Undertaker. We'll get into all that when we get to that match. But before we
We
get
should say
into
we were gonna do a watch along of the Hell in a Cell, but we're having some technical difficulties with the network.
Hopefully we will get to it.
We will
Hopefully
get to it eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Okay, so the first thing that we should talk about is the King of the Ring tournament. And I want to ask you, and I had this thought while watching the show, and I figured now's a good time to ask this question to you, DK. Are you a fan of the King of the Ring tournament when they only do the semifinals and the finals, or quarterfinals, semifinals, finals?
No, I hate it because it's not a tournament. Like, God damn it.
So
Like,
you would prefer the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals?
I would prefer the entire tournament on the show.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
93, 94.
Or 95.
Yeah. Did they do it in 95 too? I can't remember.
Yeah, they did.
Mabel did like 5 matches. Oh my God. He must be tired. Anyways.
You know what?
No, because it takes away. Oh, hey, look, I won my match on Raw, and in 9 days I have to have another match. Okay, how is that different than a regular wrestling calendar?
Right.
That's the thing that bugged me. But it seemed like around this time, because I think in 97 was the first year they didn't do the full tournament on the pay-per-view.
Right.
Yeah. So like maybe because they want to get more matches and for more storylines and stuff. Because if you had like an entire King of the Ring tournament and you had Kane versus Stone Cold and then you had the freaking Hell in a Cell match, like that might be a little bit too much for one show. So
yeah, like I think there are times where there's going to be exceptions to the rule, and I think this year or this particular show might be an exception to the rule, but I'm going to agree with you for the most part. I do prefer the whole tournament. Like if you're going to do a tournament, you do your qualifying matches, then you do the tournament. If it means that, the matches are shorter and whatever, okay, but you're giving me a tournament.
Well, you don't even have to have the matches shorter. You just don't have random tag team match in the middle of the show.
That's
just do a couple, do a
Mhm.
couple matches with the same, like tournament shows are like one of my favorites. Like one of my favorite pay-per-views that people never talk about is Survivor Series 98.
Yes.
Deadly Game tournament.
Love that show.
I think it rivals, like you might come at me for this, but it rivals WrestleMania 4's tournament. I loved it.
You know what?
WrestleMania 4 was obviously on a higher level. It was for the same title. And like I think there was more more guys and more matches in the WrestleMania 4 tournament.
You're 2 for 2. I have not gone for you yet tonight.
Okay,
Because I'm agreeing with you. Because I do
good.
think that tournament is as good as the WrestleMania 4 tournament because there's such an interesting story to that tournament. But when we get to that show at some point, we will talk about it.
Yeah,
But
and the one thing I will say is similarities between the 98 Survivor Series and WrestleMania 4 is you had one guy that you thought was going to win, and he didn't win.
yep.
Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan.
Oh, Hogan. Yep. Okay, so real briefly, we're gonna go through the qualifying round and the quarterfinals, which will lead us to the two semifinal matches. So Rock beat Vader in his qualifying match. Triple H beat X-Pac by countout. Owen Hart beat Scorpio, Too Cold Scorpio. Dan Severn beat D'Lo Brown. Ken Shamrock beat Kama. Mark Henry beat Terry Funk. At least Terry's getting a look. Jeff Jarrett beat Farouk. And Mark Merrow beat Steve Blackman. So that was our qualifying round. The quarterfinals, The Rock beat Triple H. Dan Severn beat Owen Hart. Ken Shamrock beat Mark Henry. And Jeff Jarrett beat Mark Merrow. So our semifinals are The Rock and Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock and Jeff Jarrett. That is our semifinal match.
Yeah, and I think when this happened, everyone just assumed it was going to be Dan Severn versus Shamrock.
Right. And they even say that during the show.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before we get to it, got to get to some notes, some numbers, and then we're going to see what was going on if WW or if WCW or ECW were doing a show that day. 17,087 was the attendance for that show. That was a legit number.
17,087.
17,087. Okay. They had a buy rate of 385,000.
Yeah, it was 98.
Yeah, 98. So how does that compare to the previous King of the Ring from 1997? Well, so the 300,000 comes out to a 0.85 rating. 97 was a 0.5. So they did a lot better in 1998 than they did in 1997. The other thing to mention, the gate. 97, which was in Providence, they had a gate of $202,000. Well, actually, you know what? We'll round it up to $203,000 because it's like 202,900 and then whatever the number is. So we'll round it up to 203,000.
Okay.
This show has a gate of $539,000. So from a financial standpoint and a rating standpoint, this show is much better than last year's King of the Ring event.
Let me ask you a question about this show.
Okay.
Because for me, like when King of the Ring first started on pay-per-view, it's like 93. So this was the first one that I kind of didn't remember the King of the Ring that much compared to the rest of the show. It felt like kind of like an afterthought. I know it was like just they have the 3 matches because it's not really a tournament at this point. But
right.
Just because there's so much else going on, why do you think they like took so much emphasis away from the tournament? Like, do you think you're trying to get away from it here? Or like, oh, we have to do King of the Ring, but we're gonna do these other matches.
Maybe
instead of making the tournament bigger than maybe like other years.
Yeah, I'm
like
not
94,
really sure.
Like in our own heart episode 94, like that was his big night.
Yeah.
Brett the year before that, even Mabel winning a few matches in a row,
Steve
and then
Austin.
Steve Austin getting his lip. See, okay, this is why I hate this tournament because okay, let's say Steve Austin gets his lip ripped open by Mark Merrow, and
Mhm.
then a week and a half later he has his second match. It's not as big a deal. He came back. He had stitches in his face when he's facing Jake Roberts, and then
Right.
he cutting the promo. Like it wouldn't have been as good if it was, oh, I had that match on Raw, and now I'm facing whoever he faced in semifinals. It was just so much better when it was just all one show.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get to the show, I have one more question to ask.
Sure.
Did you see this show live when it happened?
Yes.
Okay. I did not, and I'm going to tell you why.
Shame, shame, shame.
I know. Shame, shame, shame. Um, I was on vacation that
Jeez,
weekend. We
you like
went,
go on vacation a lot.
I know. We went to Ohio
Okay,
and we visited the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton.
cool.
We did a tour of a chocolate factory. That was more for my mom and my sister. We visited the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then,
Quite the trip.
yeah, it was a pretty fun trip. Ohio, but okay, I'm going to say this right now before I forget. If you've never been to Ohio, you need to go. It is an awesome state. It really is.
Okay.
I want to go back to Ohio.
Which part of Ohio? Should I go to Cincinnati or Cleveland?
Cleveland,
Yeah.
like
Man,
Cleveland and
you
the
went pretty
surrounding
fast.
areas. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, that night of the King of the Ring, we went to the movies.
Okay.
I saw Mulan, the cartoon movie.
You watch Mulan before you watch Mick Foley almost die.
Well, okay. Now, wait a minute. There's no way we were going to get pay per view at the hotel. Like, that's kind of like a rule. Like,
Oh,
you're
I
not
guess
getting.
you were a kid, right?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
12.
I was
I'm
like, go to
13.
the pub, man. Jesus, what are you?
Hey,
And
Dad, did you drive me to the bar?
all these kids listening to our show are like, why don't you just watch it on your phone? I'm like, yeah, yeah, we couldn't do
And
that.
wasn't like that, folks. All right. And then to make things even more fun, and I didn't even realize this till years later, the next night Raw was in Cleveland.
I was
I
gonna say, wasn't this show in Ohio?
like the next night Raw's like, I didn't realize it till years
Yeah,
later.
Steve Austin wins the title
I didn't
from
I know.
Kane in like
I know.
one of the coolest Raws of the year,
I
and you're in
know.
Ohio and you're just at a chocolate factory, not watching Raw.
I know. I wasn't going to win.
I
Let me
feel like
just tell you that.
you tell these stories to our fans so I can mock you on the show. Like
Sometimes,
you set me up.
not all the time, but
Like
sometimes
it's like T-ball. You just set it up for me and I just knock it out.
I do. I give them, I throw a soft one. All right. So let's get to this show. In all seriousness, let's get to the show. Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, and commentary. Our opening match, they say, is a bonus match. So it
Okay.
is the Headbangers and Taka Michinoku against Kaientai.
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about this match. Why don't you start us off with this one?
Okay. This is just, you know what? This is a fun little opener of a match. There,
Yeah.
like, because Taka's still in the feud with Kaientai, and he needed partners that night, so he got the Headbangers. That's
Sure.
kind of how I figured that match came together.
I remember Taka had a skirt on too. Like he was like part of
Yes.
that.
Right. So that was kind of cool. You know what? This was a fun match. It's harmless. It's just a good way to get the crowd going. It just is. I enjoyed the match. For a while, it's in my top 2 favorite matches of the show for a while. So
Okay.
that's gonna kind of tell you how I'm gonna be with this show.
Not Not that
But
we talk about him too much. What was your opinion on Taka Michinoku here?
oh, I thought he was awesome. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. I thought he was awesome. I wanted to see a lot more of him. It's just too bad that they screwed up the light heavyweight division
yeah,
because you had the right person leading that division in Taka.
for sure.
They just
I just
messed it up
remember the show in Calgary in '97, and he had a match.
with Sasuke.
Yeah,
Now I've
and
seen that
like
match.
I didn't really know much about him at that point. I remember leaving that event like being really impressed by him.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that he didn't do a little bit more, but I
Yeah,
guess when the division went away, it was a little bit hard.
yeah. So the Headbangers and Taka win. I gave this a C plus.
Yeah, it was a pretty good opener. You pretty much explained it all. Kind of headbangers helping out Taka here with the feud.
Mm-hmm.
The feud went on for a while, and then didn't he join Kai and
He
Tai
did. Yeah.
eventually? A little
Mm-hmm.
weird. Yeah, I'm
Hi,
with.
chubby,
I
chubby,
like.
go pee pee.
That's right. That is around this time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So
We're
that's
getting
good.
close to it. So
Yeah,
yeah, C
I'm
plus for
with
me.
you. I'll probably do the same C plus.
Okay. Now I happen to have in front of me Dave Meltzer's ratings for this show. Again, normally we don't do this, but it's just kind of for the
Well,
fun
that's
of it.
okay. We could see if we agree with Dave, and if we don't,
Yeah.
big deal.
Um, what do you think he rated this match?
Now his rating's a star rating, right?
The star system, yeah.
I'd probably say 3 stars.
2.25.
Okay.
It's a little low, but not terribly low.
Well, it wasn't in Tokyo.
That's true. It wasn't in Tokyo. You're
You
absolutely
have the
right.
Japanese guys, but it's in Ohio, so two and a
Yeah.
quarter.
Oh, hold on. Where was this show? Hold on. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where it is.
Oh, okay. Oh,
But
Raw
it's
was in.
right, but it's close to Ohio.
Sometimes you just say, "Mom, we're not going to the chocolate factory. We're going to Pittsburgh. We're driving, Dad. I want to see Hell in a Cell live."
That probably would have been the
I've read a
last.
like
That probably would have been the last time I ever saw wrestling if I had done that.
I don't know if like besides what like we'll talk about what happens in a cell match, but
Right.
I don't know how good a cell match would be live because like you
I
can't
don't
really see
know.
that well.
Yeah,
Like
I don't know.
something I've never experienced. Maybe somebody from our Facebook group has seen a
Mhm.
Hell in a Cell
Yes.
in the arena. Now
Yes.
I know like they put the cameraman inside so
Hmm.
you can see like were you watching the jumbotron a lot of the times?
Yep.
Just curious.
So before we go to the next match, Sable comes out because, you know, Sable.
She's on the poster of the
Yeah,
show.
she is. She is on the poster, so it's all right. So she introduces Vince McMahon, Gerald Briscoe, Pat Patterson come out, and then Vince tells her that she has to leave. On the way out, Pat gives her
Is
well
this
a
where,
pat.
this is where Pat pats her on the ass and then she
Yep,
slaps it out of him?
and she slaps him. It is
I
so
think that was
funny.
a shoot. I think that was a shoot slap.
I'm gonna say no.
He seemed surprised.
I
So
mean, he
okay,
did pretty good.
so Pat's like, so Vince's like, you just hit her in the butt, and then and then Pat does it, and then you slap him
just just give her a good
just like that.
slap her on the ass like you do with the other guys. So then
Did he
Vince
come out at this
cuts.
point?
No, I don't know. So then Vince cuts a promo about how our lives have been disappointments. Our
Yeah.
mom and dads have disappointed us. We've even disappointed them. And basically, he gets to, you're going to be disappointed when Stone Cold loses to Kane tonight. That's pretty much the promo.
Yeah.
So now we go to the first of two semifinal matches. Jeff Jarrett and Ken Shamrock.
Yeah. I never thought Jeff Jarrett was going to win this match. Like, I didn't see like we were talking earlier with the Money in the Bank. Like we have like different. Okay, what's the percentage this guy could win? Oh, this guy might be able to win. Nope, Jeff Jarrett had 0% chance. I thought it was going to be Dan Severn versus Ken Shamrock. And then I thought maybe they were going to let him fight for real in the wrestling ring, and winner's king of the ring. That would be cool.
I mean, if you had asked me to throw a pitch on Jeff Jarrett winning this match, I'd be like, no, I can't.
He rolls out of the ring.
No offense to Jeff, I just can't.
With a guitar, that's like maybe.
Maybe, but that's only about it.
Yeah. Like I'm not extremely thrilled with the King of the Ring matches because it's not really a tournament, like we've talked about a few times already. So,
yeah.
I wasn't super into this match, basically, of all the reasons I've already said. I knew Ken was going to win. I didn't care about the match because I was more interested in what was coming up.
I mean,
probably give it a D rating.
I mean, the only good thing, well, I mean, yeah, the only good thing about this is it's a quick match. It's like a 5-minute match.
Yeah.
And for the short time that they are there, it's a decent job. It's not terrible. I mean, we're going to get to the worst match of the show in a little bit. It's not too far from away, but this is basically a Monday Night Raw match. If we're going to be honest. I gave it a C-.
Okay, so we're
close. Not too far, yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention, there were no events for WCW or ECW on this day, so this is all WWF on this one today. So
all right. Plan it that way, like if you're doing a pay-per-view, maybe don't go run it against another major promotion show.
Yeah. So what rating do you think Meltzer gave this match?
Oh, probably like a 1/4 star.
You're close. 1 star.
Oh, okay.
All right. So now to the other semifinal match, The Rock against Dan the Beast Severn.
Why don't you start off this one?
Okay. I'm going to start off with admitting to something. I am probably one of the few people in this world that has a Dan the Beast Severn action figure doll.
Oh God.
Yes, when WWF and Jax were together, I bought the Dan Severn action figure.
You bought it?
Yeah, I bought it.
Find it somewhere in like a landfill or something.
It was at a KB Toys. That's probably one of the reasons why KB Toys went out of business, is because they sold the Dan Severn figure.
Did you show? What was this on like Black Friday and like all the other good ones are gone and you had to buy the Dan the Beast Severn extra figure?
I don't even know. But I mean,
you could put it on eBay. Somebody might want it.
Oh, it is loose. I don't know.
Man,
there's got to be other people that had or have the Dan Severn action figure.
Maybe his kids or something.
Oh man. All right. So anyway, this match.
Sorry, I need to take a second here.
Fine. It's fine. This match is a bit of a disappointment. I mean, I was kind of expecting a little more because I'm like, okay, Rock's getting good at this point. Severn is a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I guess I was expecting a little more, and it just never happened. So the way the match ends is Kama and Mark Henry come out to interfere. Ref gets distracted. Here comes D'Lo Brown, first time with the chest protector. This is the debut of the this is the debut of the chest protector. Hits the frog splash and almost trips over the guardrail as he leaves. Rock pins Severn.
I laughed.
Yeah. And I love D'Lo. But man, that's so Rock advances. So our final will be Ken Shamrock and The Rock.
And we should mention, like, they had a match at Royal Rumble that year. They had a match at WrestleMania. So they had like a feud going already, kind of. I don't know if the feud had finished, and then they were just gonna. Oh, now they're facing each other again.
And then they have a match at the Survivor Series in that Deadly Games tournament.
Right.
I'm only giving the match this grade because I was kind of hoping it would have gone a little bit longer. I gave it a D.
Yeah. Same as the Jeff Jarrett Shamrock match.
Okay.
For me, like, not. I liked the D'Lo part, and him tripping was funny. But yeah, like, you know what? I like wanted it's I wanted Shamrock and Severn, but I was kind of happy like watching it live when The Rock won, because then at this point I really thought The Rock was going to be the king of the ring.
Yeah.
Because like it's kind of like one of those like elevation tournaments.
Yeah,
If you look at the history, like Owen didn't win the title, but he had his best year in '94 after he won.
Mm-hmm.
Even Mabel had some main event matches. Austin, obviously, Triple H '97. He ended up going on and having a really good '98. So it's like the next.
That could be a future episode of itself. Like we could do like a tier system of King of the Ring winners, like who benefited the most.
Yeah.
You know, something like a list of some kind. I don't know. But what rating do you think Meltzer gave this match?
I will say 1.5 stars.
-half a star.
What?
Yeah, I don't know how you could give
Jarrett 1 star. Like, how's he come up with this shit?
I don't know how you could give a match -half a star. Either you just give it a -1 or I don't know. All right, so let's go to our next match.
I hate that guy.
Now the backstory to this is actually kind of funny. I kind of like the backstory to this one. So the match we're going to get next is Too Much against Al Snow and Head.
Yeah.
So Al Snow makes his return to the WWF. All he wants is to have a meeting with Mr. McMahon. That's all he wants. I mean, not, easy thing to ask. However, every time he comes and wants to have a meeting, he gets thrown out. So he asks Jerry Lawler to help him out.
Sure.
And Jerry,
friends.
Yeah, and Jerry, being the model citizen that he is, loses Al Snow. So then Al Snow, one night on Raw, steals the crown from the King. And this is how we have this match. So the stipulation is if Al Snow and Head win this match, they get the meeting. Well, Al gets the meeting with Mr. McMahon.
The Head isn't in the meeting?
I think
part of the contract?
I think he'll tag along, but
like a manager,
maybe. Now I can tell you, because Al Snow, the previous month, is an ECW.
Yeah,
they have a pay-per-view in May. If Al Snow does not leave to go to WWF to do this, Al Snow wins the ECW title on that pay-per-view that night. So, see how strange history can be. Yeah. Imagine Al Snow as ECW World Champion, how that could have been. I think that would have been interesting, but who knows? Okay, so the guys come out to the ring, but Jim Ross notices we need a rep. Hold on, excuse me a minute.
Yeah, you need your hat.
Yeah, if I'm going to do this right.
Oh, we don't have a referee.
Exactly.
You you can't have a match without a referee.
So JR's like, there's no referee. Can someone in the back get a referee out here? And that's when the Fink makes the announcement that we have a special guest referee. It's Jerry Lawler.
Yay.
Hey. And JR's like, well, this is gonna be a first for your old pal JR. I've never seen anything like this.
He's never seen a special referee announced for a match. It happens all the time. What's he talking about?
Long time. Okay. Do you want to try this match, or do you want me to try?
I just remember the ending and laughing my ass off.
Oh God.
Okay, so in my opinion, people either shit all over this ending or they love it. I loved it. Head and shoulders, come on. He's got the shoulders.
He
and then like Brian Lawler or Christopher or whatever we're calling him, he's like yelling in the camera, yeah, I put the shoulders, the shoulders. Ah! Oh man, his laugh was like worse than Jerry's.
Jerry has set referees back 20 years. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to this match except the ending.
JR used to be a referee. So
he did. Yeah, when he first started, he was a referee. So 2 cool wins, and Al Snow's not going to have this meeting. So what rating do you want to give this match?
Oh, 5 stars. Did Head and Shoulders like sponsor this event? Did they get something? That wasn't like great value like shampoo there. That was Head and Shoulders.
Unfortunately, no. Super Soaker was the sponsor of this pay-per-view.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably give this C-. I want to say.
Okay, I'm gonna be a little bit lower than you. Not too far low. I gave this a D.
You gave this a like, B? Did you say B?
D. No, D. Okay. Like duck. Yeah. Okay. It's just, I don't know. I couldn't really get into this one that much.
No.
Yeah. But it's so
weird. The Head and Shoulders. Come on, man.
I didn't. I'm not saying I hated it. I just wasn't a fan of it. But one thing before we get to Meltzer, it's so weird to see where Too Cool comes from.
Right?
It's like, oh my God, they were these guys first.
Yeah, and then they're wearing these outrageous outfits and dancing with Rikishi.
Yep, and they become huge stars.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I gave this a D. What rating do you think Meltzer gave this match?
-3 1/4 stars.
Not bad. -2.
Why didn't he just say, "Oh, I didn't like this match," instead of like berating them and minusing the star?
I don't know. All right. So the next match is X-Pac against Owen Hart, and this stems from Owen Hart costing X-Pac his King of the Ring match with Triple H, and X-Pac costing Owen Hart his King of the Ring match with Dan Severn. And Owen ends up getting 7 or 9 staples in the back of his head.
Sure.
So,
is Owen in the Nation yet?
Yes, he is Nation Owen.
So he's wearing that Danger.
Yep, you got it. You got it.
I like this match. These are 2 really good wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
I put these 2 guys up almost against anybody for like in-ring technician type stuff. Yeah, What did you think of this match? Because I
This
really
is
liked this one.
this is a fun match. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, this is a fun match. This is X-Pac's first WWF pay-per-view match in over 2 years.
really.
Yeah, because he was in WCW, was doing the whole NWO shtick, and
Right. Yeah,
so
because
this,
oh yeah, because I was thinking '99 for some reason. Yeah, he had come back at like night after WrestleMania.
yeah, he came back the night after WrestleMania. But no, this is a fun match, good storytelling. The ending is really good. Mark Henry gets involved, and then Vader gets involved and then falls bass backwards.
Ass backwards, eh? All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then China hits a pretty good looking DDT onto Owen. Owen gets busted open near his eye at some point.
yeah,
Um, and X-Pac gets the win. It's a really good match. And this really, for me, is kind of what turns this pay-per-view around for the better.
yeah.
I gave this a C plus.
Yeah, I'm actually right with you on that one. I was thinking B minus, but
It's
like
in
C,
that range, B minus C
yeah,
plus. I'm fine with that.
yeah, I like C plus for this one.
All right. What rating do you think Meltzer gave this one?
He probably gave it something decent, maybe 3 stars.
2.25.
Really?
Yeah, 2.25.
Hmm.
Um, so after that match, Paul Bearer comes out and he's going to cut a pro. This, okay, between the Vince promo and the Paul Bearer promo, this is my favorite promo of the night. I
Yeah,
love this. So we have to kind of hit the rewind button to a few weeks prior, because on an episode of Raw, um, Undertaker and Steve Austin faced Kane and Mankind in Hell in a Cell. And this is the Hell in a Cell that people forget.
yeah,
Everyone thinks Undertaker Mankind is the second Hell in a Cell match. This is the actual second Hell in a Cell match.
yeah.
So during this, Paul Bearer gets attacked by the Undertaker and he bleeds like a stuffed pig. Like he bleeds. So then the next week, Paul Bearer is at his house and he's going to get his stitches taken out when the Undertaker invades his home and beats the crap out of him.
Yep.
So Paul Bearer starts off by talking about that, and he was like, every stitch the doctor pulled out, I cursed you to hell, Undertaker. I cursed you to hell.
Oh man, I love Paul Bear.
And then he gives this sob story about Kane. How he's like, when Kane was a little kid, all he wanted to do was be a wrestler like his brother. He'd watch WWF Superstars, and he said, I want to be just like him, Dad. And then he ends the segment with like, I will be the manager and father of the new World Wrestling Federation champion. And you all may laugh at the fat man, but I'll be laughing all the way to the bank. Love that. Oh, true treasure. A true treasure. All right. So now we're going to go to our other bonus match. And this is for the WWF Tag Team titles. The New Age Outlaws against the Midnight Express.
Ew.
Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart.
How do you say that without laughing?
Look, can we all just agree this was a bad idea? I mean, even Jim Cornette didn't like this. You know, Jim Something
You
is
know,
bad when Jim
it
Cornette
was
does not like it.
it was Cornette's idea.
No, it wasn't.
Yes,
It was
it was.
Russo's idea.
No way.
Yeah. He's like, bro, I'll get you back on TV. Do NWA. Yeah, I don't know. But no, I mean, look, we had when I was a kid, we had beautiful Bobby, sweet Stan, and I missed Loverboy Dennis. I missed that part. How in the world do you come up with bombastic Bob and bodacious Bart?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
I don't even know the reason for this.
Yeah, I don't even know. But
So,
okay, I'm going to talk about this match. This match had no reason to be as good as it was. I thought this was a good match. Hey, I'm
if,
not saying it's the match of the night.
if you
It's not.
forget about the characters, yeah, it was pretty good.
Exactly. If you forget the characters, this is a standard WWF tag match. And
Yeah.
it's good. It's a good match.
Yep.
And like you're like watching and you're like, okay, the Midnights, there's no way they should, number one, be in this match, and number two, even come close to winning it. And there's like maybe 2 times where they almost win this match. And it's good. It's a good match because Cornette comes in, hits, I think it's Billy with the belt, and they get the near fall. And then Cornette comes back in again, and he's told this story where he's like, so we have, the spot where China's going to give him the low blow. Well,
Yeah.
he's in the corner waiting, 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 waiting. And then China realizes, oh, I got to get in. So she gets in, takes the glasses off, does the low blow. And then not the Guns, the Outlaws, they get the win to retain the tag title.
Yeah, this is brother on brother too.
Yeah,
That
at one point,
no one
Bart and
talks about.
Billy. Yeah.
Are they actual brothers? These guys?
No, no.
I didn't think so.
I gave this a C.
Yeah, honestly, you fire this matchup, and you're like, oh my god, can I just skip this shit? But turned out pretty good.
Exactly.
Some good performers in there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the storyline or the characters they were at that time didn't really do it for you, but yeah, it's a pretty good match.
Yeah.
I'm with you with the C.
Okay. What do you think Meltzer rated this?
Well, I haven't really been right with Meltzer at all, so I'm gonna say 2.25 stars.
1.5.
Jesus, come on, Dave.
Again, but again, and I think we should remind everyone, it's 98. Meltzer does not ever go back and like, I should change my rating. He's not like that.
No.
Like once he gives it a rating, that's his rating.
He might change it so it's worse after he watches it again. You know what? Actually, I want to be more of a dick.
Well, all right, let's get down to business here because Triple H is coming to the ring. He's going to be on commentary for this next match.
Oh, this is so terrible. The commentary.
Oh, the commentary is bad.
There's a lot of by things I am, but lingual isn't one of them. What? And he's like, did I just mean to say that?
I guess you did.
And then JR was like,
So
we are live.
So the next match is the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. Ken Shamrock versus The Rock. I'm gonna let you take this one.
Okay. I thought like I've been bashing the tournament the whole episode, but I thought the finals was pretty good. I thought the Triple H commentary made the match worse somehow. I don't like I say they want to get him on the show, and then he was the winner the year before, Like, was he injured at this point? Is that why he
No,
was there?
he lost to The Rock in the quarterfinals.
Okay. Yeah, that's I don't know why you would do that. Why would you have a former King of the Ring? Why would he enter the tournament again?
Well, to defend the crown.
I guess. And then he
I mean,
loses in the
you,
quarterfinals. That just takes away everything he did the year before.
I had this silly, stupid thought in my head while watching this. Have you? I'm sure you have at one point or another in your life. You ever watch those pageants? Like the Miss America, Miss Universe,
Sure.
and at the end they bring out like the previous year's winner.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is her last time she's wearing the crown before she gives
Right.
it to the new. That's what they should have done. That's what WWF should have done. Like all the years, it's like, oh, the previous year's winner is here. It's his
Some people
last
in our
time to
nation
wear
don't
the.
have maps. I
It's
love
his
that shit.
last time wearing the crown. He's going
You,
to give it to the winner.
okay, so this might be the only time I ever talked about this. Do you remember that chick when they asked her why people couldn't find a wreck on a map?
Oh, Miss South Carolina. Oh
Yeah.
man,
She said, well, some people out there in our nation don't have maps. If you want to follow her, she's actually a real estate agent
no.
in, I think, Arizona. And I laughed because how is she supposed to find the houses?
She probably got kicked out of South Carolina after that.
Yeah, they couldn't have her.
They're like, we
Like,
can't have you and your family anymore.
honestly, for like 10 years after that, every time we're just sitting around having fun, like, hey, you guys want to see something funny? And then you find somebody that hadn't seen it before, and then you're like, okay, we're YouTubing this right now. And then Mario Lopez is like, thank you. He's like walking away, like, oh my god, what an idiot. Anyways, you said pageants, and it made me think of her.
If you had this reference on your podcast bingo card, congratulations.
You
And if it
win
got you, and if it
all the
got you
time.
bingo, congratulations more.
We should definitely do bingo card with
All right,
random
now
choice, and then it might
can I
take
ask
3 years for you to get bingo, but
can I ask two quick questions before we get back to the match?
sure.
Did she age well? That's the first question.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to plug her Twitter just for the hell of it so everyone can look her up?
I
This is the
don't
only time she's ever going to get plugged on a wrestling
I don't
podcast.
honestly remember her name, but why don't you talk about
Rock
you
and Shamrock.
you talk about the match. Yeah, I
Yeah, I'll
forgot what
talk about the
you were
match.
doing. I'm going to talk,
Um,
and I will
so
look for Twitter.
this is a fun match. I mean, they have the chemistry. It's good back and forth. Yeah, you have that one moment where Triple H spits water in The Rock's face, but it's just a good back and forth match. It's just whoever wins is king of the ring. There's no title on the line. So Shamrock doesn't have to blow his opportunity again at the Intercontinental title. Um, it was just a really good match, told a really good story, I thought. And Shamrock won with the ankle lock. And I'm going to say something a little controversial here, but I think the right guy went over on this. The Rock did not need to win the King of the Ring. He was going to be a star either way. I don't think he needed it.
Yeah. Um, like knowing what we know, I agree. At the time, I thought it was kind of a bad decision
Right.
because I don't know if it. So if you look at the previous King of the Ring winners, besides Brett, they were all heels.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Owen, Mabel, Austin,
Austin.
Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
They were all heels that elevated to main event status. But obviously everything worked out good for The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I think King Rock would have been like legendary promos. even wearing a crown or something.
Right.
And it's not like Ken Shamrock did anything with this. It's not like he elevated that much.
Right.
He had a title. He had a title match against Shawn Michaels. That was before this. I don't think he even had a title shot.
I don't think he ever did.
So, like, okay, so we've talked about Ken Shamrock '98. He wins King of the Ring.
But he does win the Intercontinental title towards the end of the year.
Yeah, he wins the Intercontinental title. And then he ends up turning heel and being in a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think The Rock winning here, like honestly, if you think about it, if you want to like elevate somebody out of this match, out of this show, like maybe Dan Severn should have won King of the Ring, because
That would have been interesting.
it would have been interesting. Like he had no personality. I don't think he was ever really going to get over as a wrestler,
Right.
in professional wrestling. I think they brought him in so they could do stuff with
Shamrock.
Shamrock. But I should say, was it? Yeah, I think it was '98 when Shamrock and Owen Hart had those cool matches. They had one
Yes.
at the
At the dungeon.
and then the Lions Den
Mm-hmm.
match, which was like kind of cool too. It was kind of like an octagon, but not really.
Right. Right.
So I guess after King of the Ring, he ended up doing that. So that was kind of cool. But like I said, when we started doing this episode, the King of the Ring tournament is kind of like on the side for this show. Like,
yeah, it is.
Even forget what happens with Mick Foley in the match we're going to talk about soon.
Mm-hmm.
You still had Austin and Kane in
yeah.
a first blood match, which even I was like, how the hell is Austin going to win this? I did not think Kane was going to win. I'm like, Austin just won the title. He's only had it for a couple months. So that's kind of what I was thinking about this.
And if Dan Severn had won the King of the Ring, we would have gotten at least a second Dan Severn action figure.
You could have got the one with the crown.
I know.
The crown.
Seriously.
You can make him a crown like out of like
I could. Tinfoil. Yeah. Be like King Severn.
Do you have this so you can show the camera?
Unfortunately, I don't. But when I go back downstairs, which will probably be this weekend, I will look for it. I will take a picture of it and I will put it on our Facebook group and I will send it to you personally.
Perfect.
So you can see the generic action figure. I hate to say it, but it is generic.
Yeah.
What grade would you give this match?
Like honestly, I always liked the chemistry with The Rock and Ken Shamrock. I liked the match. Probably let's go see. Yeah.
I gave this a B minus. Did we ever find the lady's name?
I couldn't find her Twitter.
That's okay.
She was on Twitter before. She probably got harassed by everybody, because I remember looking at it and laughing, and then finding out she was real estate agent. But now I can't find that information, so she might have lost.
Future episode. We'll find it and give you an update.
Some people out there in our nation don't have maps.
Okay.
See, but now it's good because you don't need a map. You have GPS. Some people out there don't have GPS.
What rating do you think Meltzer gave this match?
2 and a 8 star.
3 1/4.
Jeez, I can't predict Meltzer nonsense.
Not today, you can. Okay, well that's the end of the pay-per-view. Nothing else happened, so
nope.
No.
Mick Foley just hangs out, and he goes hangs out with his family the next day, and all is good.
I know. All right. So before we review this match, I watched this yesterday to get prepared for the show.
Yeah.
So I went to my nephew Jacob, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to see a famous match?" At first, he's like, "No," and then I tell him somebody gets thrown off a cage, and he's like, "Ooh." So that's
What are kids like that? Like,
yeah,
hey, you want to see a guy almost die? Yeah, I do.
exactly.
I wasn't
So
interested before, but
right,
car.
so
Cool.
I get him in. I hit the play button, and so I have to kind of explain a little bit, not too much.
Okay.
So we watch the match. I mean, we will give our review and thoughts of it in a minute.
Yeah.
So he watches the throw, which is what I'm calling it at this point. It's the throw.
Basically what it is.
Yeah. And he can't, like, he's shocked. And then he's thinking, this is over. This match is over.
Yeah.
And I tell him he gets a
Sounds like Jerry
separated
Lawler.
shoulder. Yeah. And I tell him, he gets a separated shoulder. And he's like, how did they know? And I'm like, well, they didn't at the time, they didn't know. So he thinks this match is over. So, and I'm like, I'm convincing him, like, no, you gotta stay. You've gotta stay.
Yeah.
And then I point out Mick gets off the stretcher. And he's like, what in the world? Like his mindset is, no, what are you doing? Why
Yeah.
are you up? And then he sees the choke slam through the cell. He couldn't believe it. And again, he's like, no, this is it. It's over. You got to stop it,
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's going to keep going. And he's like, no, this match should stop. This is over. It's over. And we keep watching. And he's like, this should have ended minutes ago. This guy got thrown off a table, went through a cell. And then I pointed out to him, he's got a tooth up his nose. And, he's just going
What
crazy.
is that? Oh,
right.
No big deal.
It's his tooth. But my favorite moment. So you'd think, okay, 11 years old. He's seen a guy get thrown off the top of a structure. He gets thrown through a structure. You'd think, okay, that's going to be the moment that, one of those is going to scare him.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Really?
It's when the thumbtacks come out. He holds his breath. He's like, oh my God. And then like we watch and he's like, oh no, and then when Mick goes onto the thumbtacks, he's like, oh, I can't watch, and then the second time, well, actually the first time, he notices Mick is rolling on the thumbtacks and he's like, what is he doing? He's rolling on the thumbtacks. He was absolutely amazed when it was over.
Gave your nephew nightmares, probably.
Well, I can tell you right now, he did not tell me that he had nightmares. So
okay, that's good.
Okay, so now that I told you that story of showing one of my nephews that match, let's talk about this match as if there isn't anything else that can be talked about with this match.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to let you go first because you said earlier that you saw this show when it happened.
Yeah.
I got to hear everything. What you thought that night, that everything.
Well, like a few of the podcasts I've listened to about this is like Mick was really worried about his character.
Mm-hmm.
And this was kind of like a weird match because like Mankind and Undertaker had all those matches in 96, but they didn't really have much since then.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they were kind of going to this cold match, Hell in a Cell. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker had just had like one of the greatest matches ever.
Exactly.
Like I know you're saying this is the third Hell in a Cell match, but
which, oh, by the way, you guys can't check out our watch along in the archives.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did do a watch along on that one. Yeah, so when I was watching live, I'm like, Mankind comes out first. I'm like, wow, wonder how they're gonna one up this, because I always assumed they were gonna one up because like Sean
Mhm.
fell pretty high.
Yeah,
Now, if you rewatch that one, that fall looks lame
I mean,
compared to
today's
Mick
standards,
Foley.
yes, it does.
Like Sean's probably like, really, dude? Come on, that was like one of the biggest bumps I ever took in my career, and it looked pretty lame now. But it was pretty far. I think that Sean bump, because he was hanging on to the top, so it was
It
probably
had
like
to
probably
be at least
15
10
feet or
feet.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 10 from where he was falling from. Mick starts climbing the cage. I'm like, okay. And then he's like walking on top, and you can kind of see it moving. It's like,
Mhm.
oh my god, what's happening here? I just assumed he was up there and like he was gonna sit there and like wait for the Undertaker, and then maybe he would climb down the other side or something.
Mhm.
Undertaker comes out. He had a broken foot, by the way, which is messed up. He starts climbing up the cage. I was like, what? I was like on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh my god. By the time he got to the top of the cage, I am like a concerned parent watching these two guys.
God.
Okay. I'm in 1998. How old am I? I'm 15 years old. I'm still good.
So you
I'm
have like some sympathy, I guess.
Yeah, I have sympathy, but I'm like worried. I'm not like excited to watch these two guys destroy each other in this epic match. I'm like worried about their health
Mhm.
at the age of 15. And when when he like goes to the second half of the top of the cage before the throw, as you put it, it looked like they were gonna like tease it, and then like he kind of like hits him, and then Mankind falls down, and it almost like seems like he's gonna like just climb down, and then it just happens. He just
Yeah.
throws him. Like it's not like a huge setup or anything. It's just like, okay, we're doing this. It's almost like they wanted to get it over with because they were doing this. And then he throws him, and when he's in mid-flight, I was like I had no words. I what? He and it seemed like he was in air forever.
Mm.
Like if you rewatch it, it's like I don't think Mick Foley, the person, could do it that well again. If he
No.
if he could pause in midair and land better or anything, I don't think he could. It was so perfect how he did it, and he still like hurt himself so badly.
Mhm.
Separated his shoulder on that. He's lucky he didn't hit his head on the concrete.
Right.
Um, and like I've said this before, if Owen Hart falls in '98, this does not happen. This match, this whole thing that happens with Mick Foley flying off a cage, like it doesn't happen because of the accident that happened to Owen.
Right.
Like 10 months later, if this had happened before this, it never would have happened. I've always said that. I was curious what people thought. Um, yeah, and then you see officials come down. You see Vince McMahon come down, but he's like not Mr. McMahon. He's like
He's
the owner.
Vince.
Yeah, you can kind of tell like he's still wearing a suit, obviously, but he just you could tell it was kind of real. But I didn't think it was over yet. I kind of thought a little bit of that was part of the show, but the choke slam off the cage where the chair almost hit him in the head, where he when he goes down, if he would have over rotated, like if you see like Undertaker saved him there, like he
Mhm.
kind of moves to the side and choke slams him. If he would have just choke slammed him where he was, he would have went right down, and the chair would have like came down and hit him.
Yeah, because that chair
I
is so close.
That match should have ended after the choke slam, I think, because Like I'm sure he's Mick Foley's dealing with a lot of stuff, and his career pretty much ended in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Probably most of it was because of this match. Like I know he was a hardcore wrestler for a lot of years, but I'm like this was an infamous match, but it's not a great match for me because of all the carelessness. I
Mm.
like it's cool to look back and like see like what he would do for the wrestling business. It's like, oh my god, but why do it? Like, I don't know. Like people say, oh, like what's the best Hell in a Cell match of all time? People say this one, and I don't think this is close to Shawn and Undertaker. It was just so much carelessness going on. Like you got to be safe. You got to get home to your families and all that stuff. Like the dude flew off the cage in the Shawn Michaels match. It was safe when he was hanging there. He made it look really good when he landed on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, like I usually get into some not big arguments, but people that talk about Hell in a Cell and ranking them and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying this isn't a great Hell in a Cell match, but
Right.
it's great because of the chaos that went down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's actually on Folia's pod on the episode that he talks about this. Um, he said he goes back and tells Vince that he's sorry he forgot to do the thumbtacks. He's really sorry. And then Vince says, "Look at your arm, Mick." And he looks down and he's got thumbtacks. So he didn't remember.
Yeah.
Like he thought he forgot to do it. There's thumbtacks sticking in his arm.
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong, phenomenal match to talk about, and you'll always remember it. I know. Mark Calloway said that match will live longer than
Both of
all of us.
them. Yeah.
When people talk about the Undertaker's career and Mick Foley's career, they talk about this match. I think they had a lot of good matches. Buried Alive, the Boiler Room Brawl match. But this one always gets talked about because of all the chaos that went down.
Yeah.
So um, this
Um.
could have ended terribly.
Yeah.
So
So, like I said, I didn't see this when it happened live. I think I heard about it like the next weekend. And I didn't see this match for like over a year.
really,
Um for a while, I was on the side of this is the best Hell in a Cell match ever. But then I saw the first one. And it took me a little while, but I was convinced after a while, okay, the first one is better than this one. And even Mick says the first one is better than this one. He has gone on record to say.
that's basically why he was doing all this crazy shit because
Right,
he had to. So are you saying you hadn't seen the Bad Blood one before this one?
right,
Oh, okay. So this is the first Hell in a Cell match you've seen,
right.
right?
Now, there
What
is a
are those?
famous there's a famous story with how this match, like the beginning, came together. Because as you said, Mick was like, how in the world are we gonna top this?
Yeah.
So he talks to Terry Funk the day of the show. And Terry is like, well, why don't you start at the top of the cage? So it's Terry Funk's idea, that they did that. And
Yep.
then after the
Start
match,
on the top.
and then
Your
after the
mother's a whore.
match, and then after the match, Vince thanks Mick for everything he did. And then he
They'll
tells
never
him,
do that again.
you're never doing that again.
Yeah.
Never.
But I think they had permission for the first
Yeah.
for the first one,
Mm-hmm.
because Undertaker didn't want to do it. Mankind or Mick Foley convinced him, and then I think it was both of them convincing Vince that they could do it safely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you can safely do a front flip off a cage and land on a table.
Right. I the one thing about that match that has always stuck with me more than anything else, and this may seem weird, but it really sticks with me, is when he is thrown off, there's a yell. It's so recognizable. It's like,
Yep.
yay! I can't imitate it. You have to watch the video to hear it. It's so loud. It sounds like as if someone just got shot or stabbed. It's a sound that is so recognizable for me, even to this day. That's a sound I've never forgotten. As far as this match, and I know you're not, like you said, you're not a big fan of this. I have to give this an A plus. I mean, it's just, look, Mick didn't have to do this. He didn't, but he loved pro wrestling.
Yep.
And, at the end of the day, 25 years later, people are still talking about that match, that bump, everything. And like you said, to what Undertaker said, that match is going to outlive all of us. It really is.
Yep. It's not that I don't think it's a great match. It's just I don't think it had to be done.
Right.
Because but as a wrestling fan, you really appreciate what those guys did in that match. So
exactly.
One thing that I think was like JR never knows. Like I guess he knows what the result is on like big time events. He didn't know that was going to happen. So all the commentary,
that's real.
It's real. Like when Jerry says, "Oh my God, he's dead," that's not part of the show. He probably thought he was dead.
Yeah.
And then you got, "By God, he's broken in half," which has been repeated over and over and over again. Probably one of the most famous wrestling commentaries ever.
Exactly.
So,
so what
yeah,
rating
I would give it an A plus as well, just for everything that they put into it, and how Mick landed that side flip, 287 pounds,
yeah,
flying through the air, not hitting his head, and smiling when that when the the tooth is in his nose and he knew it, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna push it up so it.
Oh yeah, and my nephew was like, "How? Why is he smiling? Why is he smiling?" But
well, I
that was
assumed he had a concussion.
lip. Yeah,
I assumed he had a concussion. He's just sitting there like not knowing what was going on.
yeah.
But
All right. Would you like to? Well, I'm gonna make you do it anyway. Uh, what rating do you think Meltzer gave this match?
Well, I hope he gave it a good rating for what the guys put in. I'll say 4 stars.
4.5.
Okay.
I want to mention two things real quick before we get to this final match. For the year-end voting for the publications and stuff, for the Observer, this match finishes second for match of the year
In 98.
in 98. And again, this is voted upon by the fans.
Yeah.
The match that beats it, and you probably won't go out of your way to watch it, which is fine, is a match between Misawa and Kenta Kobashi from October 31st.
Okay, so it's not WWF.
Right.
Okay.
Now, as far as Pro Wrestling Illustrated goes, this match was voted the match of the year by the readers.
Yeah.
It beats out Shawn and Austin from WrestleMania. And this is the order, by the way. Shawn and Austin from WrestleMania.
Yeah, that wasn't even a good of a match.
Goldberg and Hogan from Nitro. And Taz versus Bam Bam Bigelow. I want to say it's the one where they go through the ring, but I could be wrong. Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I've even seen the Taz Bigelow match, but for the other two, definitely should be ahead of those other.
Yeah.
The Shawn Austin match wasn't even that good. Shawn was hurt. Like, it was a good moment for Austin, but it wasn't a good wrestling.
Right. Okay, so now we go, if you could believe this, that was not the main event. The main event for the WWF Championship, Stone Cold Steve Austin defending against Kane in a first blood match. So this is a new match, at least to us. I don't know if there had been any other before. Oh, actually, yeah, there has.
I can remember.
Yeah.
First one I remember seeing.
Exactly. So the way to win is to make your opponent bleed. Pretty simple. Now, Vince throws in this stipulation. If Kane loses this match, he will set himself on fire. I have to believe that's part of the reason why they got over 380,000 buys.
Yeah, you're either going to see Austin lose the title, which you don't want to see it, but be kind of interesting to see.
Right.
Or you're going to see a guy set himself on fire.
Exactly.
And Kane was on fire in April that year.
Right. At Unforgiven.
Because that was one of our upcoming
that's going to be one of our future episodes.
But we decided to push this one ahead because of the anniversary element. I don't think this match had a chance after the Hell in a Cell.
No,
I thought it did pretty well. I liked the concept of Kane covering his other arm. They made a point. Earl Hebner's not stopping this match for a scrape.
Exactly. I like that they said that.
Your knee. And like, Austin comes to the ring in his regular stuff. Which also mentioned that he was in the hospital. He had a staph infection.
Yeah, had a staph infection.
He had a big giant elbow pad. So, yep, like, basically, like, I think Mankind was kind of hurt before this event too. Undertaker had a broken foot, and Austin was in the hospital with
for 3 days.
Fever. Yeah, a crazy fever. Didn't think he was going to make the show. So this night could have been a lot different if these guys didn't give it their all. But yeah, I really like the match. I think you had to still do it last. Just because, you even have the cell being involved. Like, who's moving the cell?
Exactly.
Then you got
that's a good part of the match.
The Sable and stuff. And Jim Ross is like,
who's moving the cell?
Cheering for Austin. He's gonna face everybody. So, but yeah. And Glenn Jacobs says, like, he's mad at Mick Foley for life because he took away his moment. But like, I won the title and no one remembered.
But here's the thing, though. Mick Foley, after doing that match, he goes back out to do this spot for the end of the match.
Yep.
He didn't have to do it. They didn't have to let him do it, but he's like, no, I got to do this spot. So, yeah, Foley comes out, and then Undertaker comes out. Undertaker accidentally hits Austin with the chair. The ref is down.
Yep.
Austin's bleeding, but I love the end because Austin gives one of the most wicked chair shots you will ever hear in your life.
Yep.
And then, JR's like, oh, what a shot! What a shot! And then Earl Hebner wakes up, sees Austin's bleeding, and JR's going crazy. He's like, Austin's bleeding! Austin's bleeding! And then
it's a first blood match.
Right. Then the best part is the end. Because they announced Kane wins the title. Paul Bearer's happy. And all JR does is like, no. No.
No.
No.
Okay, so did they ever say before this match, when they were talking about it, like setting it up, did they ever say your opponent has to make you bleed?
That's a good
Or did they
question.
just say
I don't think they ever did.
First one to bleed loses?
Yeah.
Now the next night at the Raw that you could have been at if you weren't at the Chocolate Factory, they he says, like, it's the first time like Kane's the champ, and Austin says, I lost the match fair and square, but you didn't make me bleed. Undertaker made me bleed. Will you give me a rematch tonight? And like, it's one of the coolest segments because Kane just like he looks at Austin and he just like nods his head like this.
He's like, okay, yeah.
I came here to take out my brother, and now I'm champion. Like, and one of the coolest main events of Raw up to that point. And Austin wins the title back. But yeah, I really like the match. I'd give it a B plus. And I think it would probably get a better rating if it didn't have to follow the most infamous match of all time.
Right. Which is why I'm close to you in my grade. I gave it a B minus.
Okay.
We're not too far apart.
What's your reasoning for the grade? Just curious.
It had to follow Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. It's the only reason.
Exactly.
Now I do want to mention real quick, and I always like to ask these kind of questions to you in general. Sure. Did you ever rent or buy the videotape of King of the Ring? This show?
Yeah, I have it on VHS.
Okay.
I don't know where it is, but I did buy it for sure. Yeah.
Do you remember what the bonus footage is after the show ends?
Yeah, when Mick's in the back. Isn't there? Oh man, no. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of Royal Rumble 2000 there.
Yeah, with Triple H.
Yeah, when he pulled a piece of wood out of his leg.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't remember.
Okay. So after the match, and they go to they put up exclusive footage.
Sure.
The fans start to chant, bullshit, bullshit. The refs are out. Foley comes back into the ring.
Right. And he fights Austin a little bit.
Right. He fights Austin a little bit. They get the referee out, and Austin gives him a stunner to send the people home happy. And Foley has to be carried out by two other people. It's like Mick earned his money on that one. He really
did. He was on Raw the next night.
Was he? I have the results of the show up.
I don't know if he was on in a match, but I think he was there. I'm like, he killed the friggin' day off.
But I'll have to watch that episode now to see if he is there.
Yeah.
So what grade do you think Dave Meltzer gave this match?
Probably like 2 3/4 stars, something like that.
You're pretty close. 3 1/4.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Um,
because he never explains his grades, right? He just kind of
it
gives a
doesn't
star rating.
really.
Not that like reading what he wrote would really matter to me. I'm just like sometimes maybe you could
Yeah,
justify. I didn't like this because it was too short. Like when we do our show, we explain why the grade is that way.
exactly. Yeah.
So
Now, I do want to mention one other thing going back to the year-end awards. This show for the Observer, because this is, I think the Observer is the only one that does this. This show finishes sixth in the category of the best major wrestling show of the year.
okay,
Heat Wave 98, ECW Heat Wave 98 is voted the show of the year. WrestleMania 14 finishes second in the
okay.
voting.
I liked WrestleMania 14 as
That's
a
a really
WrestleMania.
good show.
I think it's underrated
Mm-hmm.
because Sean's on his way out, Austin's winning, but even the other matches, like the Kane and Undertaker match, is really good.
Yep. But yeah, you could see, the fans really appreciate the show by putting it, for having finished in the top 10 of the best major wrestling shows that year by the readers of the Observer. That's kind of a big
Yeah,
deal there, I think.
yeah.
Um, but I do want to mention briefly the next night on Raw because besides Austin winning the title back, something else happens. Something historic happens that night.
Okay,
Do you know what it is, or do you remember?
you can give me some sort of hint.
Um, this goes all summer.
This goes all summer. Yes, I don't know. I no, I'm spacing on what you're saying, so you go ahead and
It's Steven Regal's debut in the WWF. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it is his debut, but that's not the historic thing.
is that when he's the man's man?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
This night, this
Okay.
is the debut of the Brawl for All.
Oh god, really?
Yep, it starts this night.
I thought that was a 99.
Nope.
So he goes from bodacious Bart to winner of Brawl for All?
Yep.
Holy shnikes.
Yep.
How have we not done Bart Gunn 98?
No
Knew we used to
one's
do a wrestler in a year and then we like
no one's
profile.
requested it.
I might have to put it up on the poll.
Maybe. Okay, so
Who would lose to Bart Gunn 98? Maybe Brooklyn Brawler 94.
maybe.
They have to pick something, so
Oh man.
we the
Okay, so
polls.
I'm gonna go back to a question that I had said in the beginning.
Sure.
Is this show still as good as I remember it when I was a teen? The answer is yes, it is. It
Now,
is still a good
is
show.
it still a good show because of the Hell in a Cell
No, there's enough support
match? Okay.
in the undercard to help this show.
Yeah.
The King of the Ring finals, X-Pac and Owen Hart, the 6-man tag, that
Yeah.
and the tag title match, which we both really enjoyed, helps
Yeah.
push this show over.
Future Brawl for All winner was in.
I know, right? I really enjoyed this show. I mean, with the exception of the tag match with Snow and Head, I know you like the ending.
Oh,
It's
come on.
just a really good show from beginning to end. It's one of the best shows of
Like,
98.
I can't believe Mick and Mark would take the thunder away from Brian Christopher like that.
Oh, Brian Christopher.
He was the biggest win of his career. No one talks about it.
Yeah.
We're being a referee out here.
Oh my, oh, that's the other thing. Okay. I forgot sometimes we forget to mention stuff. The commentary is so good on this show. And the constant jokes of JR going after Jerry as referee. And the part where when Earl Hebner's out and JR's like, hey Jerry, you're a referee. Why don't you get in the ring?
Not in this match.
Not in this match.
He's like,
You got a one-day license.
So I either tell Austin he's not the champion anymore, or I have to tell Kane he has to set himself on fire. No, I'm sitting right here with you.
I mean, he has a good argument.
Well, pretty great show. Sorry it took so long for me to come back and join you here.
Yeah,
looking forward to the Barry Horowitz part 2 that I will definitely be at. We'll make sure to schedule it properly so I can make sure to be there.
Yep.
And yeah, join our Facebook group. We put all the polls on Facebook for you guys to vote. So if there's something that you want to see, just post it. We'll take it under consideration. We usually each pick one and then let you guys vote on them. If there's something that you guys want to see, let us know. Post it.
Yep. And next show is absolutely episode number 50. It is absolutely episode number 50. So
okay, so this has to be some monumental show then.
Yeah. Loved it.
Yeah. We might have to talk off camera about this.
Yeah. I think we will.
Well, let's think about it over the weekend and maybe we can come up with something.
All right. Thank you all.
Might have to be the Bart Gunn Show.
Maybe. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll talk to you all next time.
Have a good one, guys.